Come on in the room. Come on in the room. The Bucks lose it again. 113 to 110 to the Memphis. Was it Memphis G League? And I don't even know who half of these guys are for the Memphis Grizzlies. Bucks lose 113, 110. Probably the most embarrassing loss of the Bucks season. Come on in the room. Hey, so I'm gonna have to find another intro. I'm not doing it for Doc until because I've left my doctor. I have left the doctor for right now. So we're gonna do this no intro. We're gonna do this naked right here. Come on in the room. We are live. It's the Cream City crossover. It's the Guru Trey Crosby III.
JT, man, we might as well play the Montana Grizzlies. This is pitiful.
Chris King.
Yeah, folks. This is bad. Come on in the room. Talk to us on Twitter at TCIIESQ. I know you're getting it in, and a lot of comments have been flooded in after tonight. And then also in the YouTube chat, I know the comments will be flowing. So come on, let's talk about this. And that's the thing. We're gonna attack this thing head on. Because we don't run from the trouble. But again, a 113-110 loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. And we got to start this thing as we always do with the game recap. And the game recap is sponsored, as always, by the law office of Daley M. Johnson, Service Central to South Central, Wisconsin. When you need defense, where?
Off the court.
Off the court. And because, like I said, the defense on the court provide none. But my guy, Daley M. Johnson, will get you that defense, criminal defense, traffic, OWI defense, temporary restraining orders, and injunctions. Call him up, 608-893-8370, located in Madison, Wisconsin. Go to his website, www.dmjlaw.com. Sign up for a free phone or in-person consultation. Again, at 608-893-8370. Let's do it. The game recap tonight, 113-110, the Memphis Grizzlies win. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I got one guy, I said I got one guy I can trust. I got one guy that I can trust on a night-to-night basis. 35, 12 assists, 4 rebounds, 15 and 17 from the field. I got one guy deserves to be in the All-Star game. I got one guy that deserves to be in the All-Star game. They should take Damian Lillard. Can they revoke your All-Star pass before you get there? Can they revoke it before you get there? Because Dame don't need to go. He needs to go back home and tend to whatever business he needs to tend to. Because he don't need to be in no Indiana for no All-Star. That's how bad he is. The watch is broken, folks. The watch is broken. Okay, 15 and 17 for Giannis Antetokounmpo. He balls out. Brook Lopez, 14 and 11, trash on defense. But again, gives you 2 steals and 4 blocks, 5 of 14 from the field, 2 of 9 from 3. So not the most efficient night from Brook Lopez, but he does. But it was up and down. Because, so many times you saw the Memphis Grizzlies getting to the basket, shots over him, all around him, all of that. Jay Crowder, 4 points, 5 boards. Damian Lillard puts in 24, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. But again, 24 points on 21 shots, shooting 33% from the field, shooting 3 of 13 from 3. That's 23%. It's almost March the 13th, folks. It's a tour date. But don't worry, he was joined by his brother Malik Beasley, who was 3 of 10 from 3. He's lucky I had him at the over 1.5 threes made. So I had him over 2.5 threes. So I took them 2 garbage threes at the end. Thank you, Malik. You got me paid. Does put up 9 points. Bobby Portis puts in 15 and 7. But I tell you, and it was I know people look at that number and be like, oh, he was 7 for 12, shot 60%. 4 of those were layups at the basket. Giannis accounted for basically all of Bobby Portis' points. He was trash. Pat Connaughton, 2 points, 5 boards, 2 steals, 1 block. Trash. He's running around out there doing nothing. Trash. AJ Green gives you 6 points. Patrick Beverly, hey, fam. Hey, too late to get campaign back because I don't know what the hell he was doing either. 0 for 4 from 3. I'm sick of this basketball team, guys. I'm sick of them. And then the Grizzlies, I can go through the guys. Zaire Williams was up 27, 4. Goodwin with 11. Aldama, I don't know these people. 7.7 assists. Where's Gigi Jackson? I know him. Gigi Jackson with 27. And Lamar Stevens had 13. I'm not even go through the Memphis Grizzlies again. It didn't matter who you put on the other side of the basketball court. The Milwaukee Bucks got their butts beat. And again, this is a night. We talked about this, guys. We talked about this. This was a night, right, that and really 2 nights in a row because you beat Denver. And so I'm asking, was Denver a fluke? But you beat the Denver Nuggets, and then you go out and lose to the Heat, who are shorthanded, and then you have Memphis. And we talked about cruising and going into the break, going to the All-Star break with a high note. You blew that. You blew that. I mean, you absolutely blew it from an effort perspective, from everything that you did. And it's crazy because so many teams follow their leader, and it's just insane to me that you have the guy that leads by example. You have a guy who's going to go out there and put up 35 and 12, 15 and 17 from him. Like, you have a guy who's trying to show you the way, and you just piss down your leg. You don't care. It don't matter to you. It doesn't matter to you. So again, I mean, I just say what I saw from the game. To me, just the effort level was not there. Really, and the starters were okay. I thought Memphis was hitting some insane shots initially, and then when the bench came in, like when Pat and Bobby came in, it just fell apart. About the only thing Doc Rivers did correct, the only thing he did correct was late in the third or start of the fourth quarter. He went to zone, and that was the only thing that was able to slow the Memphis Grizzlies down. And it worked for long stretches. You thought the Bucks were maybe going to win the game once they took the lead, and then it just fell apart because, again, in part because Damian Lillard and the turnovers that he had, the poor shooting that he had. Malik Beasley shot blocked on a three. I mean, just some inopportune things happened late in that basketball game. But again, I give credit to the Memphis Grizzlies for playing the way that they played. And again, they did what they needed to do to win 113-110. But I'm not really talking about Memphis. This is more about the Milwaukee Bucks and how bad the Bucks played. And the last thing I say before I pass this thing off to you, JT, I don't know what's Doc's record now. What is he? 3-6, 3-7 in his 3-7 in his 10 games with the Bucks. So he's winning at a 30% clip. I will say this: it's early. It's a 10-game sample. Now, by the way, Adrian Griffin was 5-4 in his last 10 in his first. Well, they was calling him to be fired when he played 9 games, wasn't he? And he was over 500. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Where the articles at? Where the articles? I just want to see. Write your articles. Get your pens and papers out. Yeah, where your articles at about that? But no, it's funny because Paul now has found. I hate to call Paul out, but I'm just saying there are other people like him. Paul now and some of these guys have now found the patience that they did not. Oh, it's okay. Oh, they'll be okay. Oh, everything's okay. Yeah, all right, you're coping because again, and remember the popular refrain about Adrian Griffin? It was, oh, well, they just played. The teams he plays are sorry. They got an easy schedule. Well, who the hell are the Utah Jazz on the back when you're up 10? Who the hell are the Portland Trailblazers? Who the hell are the Miami Heat down 5 guys? And who the hell is this Memphis basketball team? This is what I'm going to say, and I preface by saying it's early. It's early. It's 10 games into Doc Rivers' tenure and era as the Milwaukee Bucks head coach. But I'll tell you this, in the 10 games that we've seen of Doc Rivers, and it's early, so make sure you get that. It's early. But in the 10 games of Doc Rivers, this team looked better under the direction of Adrian Griffin. I don't know how much clearer you want me to say it. Because, and the other thing I say, the reason I say that is because the defense was bad, and defense was bad tonight. You gave 113 to one of the worst offenses in the league, who was missing John Morant, who's missing Jackson, who's missing Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., who's missing Desmond Bain, who's missing Marcus Smart, missing everybody, right? So this is one of the worst offenses in the league. 18 guys on the roster on 10 days. But it's a 10-day team. So, but the reason I say that is because even though the Milwaukee Bucks defense was bad under Adrian Griffin, didn't matter because you put up 130. You put up 140. I'm just saying, Adrian Griffin's Bucks would have put up 140. It'd been 140 to 128, and people would have been crying. But they would have got a dub. They'd have got a dub. Again, it's early. It's early. I don't want to write Doc off just yet. But I'm just saying, this team was better under this basketball team was better under the direction of one Dr. Adrian Griffin. And that's all I'm going to say on that. JT, that's what I saw. What did you guys see?
Look, I 100% agree with that analysis. You got to put some respect on Dr. Griffin's name. I was told that anybody could coach this Bucks team. I was told that this Bucks team, anybody can roll out of bed. Oh, Dr. Griffin is just winning because they have a historic offense. That's the only reason why. And you know what? Doc Rivers driving this thing into the ground. This is embarrassing. This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, remember, we were 31-13 when Adrian Griffin took over. Doc is on a race to get to 13 losses at this point. He might get to 13 losses before he gets to 6 wins. I mean, seriously, at this pace, that is 100% a possibility. the thing that kind of bothers me about this too, and we talk about this, I don't want to harp on this too much, but we talked about the timing of this move and how all this, right? We question that if this made sense, because as flawed as the Bucks were under Dr. Griffin, the system worked to an extent, right? The win loss category got right. At this point, with Adrian Griffin being 31 and 13, Doc, we got 26 games left in the season. I don't know if y'all did that math, right? We 35 and 21 at this point. We got 26 games left. Doc Rivers is not going to win 20 games with this Bucks team this year. It's not going to happen. I'm just going to tell you right now. There's no way, shape, or form. It's just not going to happen. The Bucks would have to go on some serious type of tear, and I just don't think we've seen that. Now, let's talk about tonight. We played the Montana Grizzlies, and they shot 50% from three. We shot 25% from three. You had Dame, Malik, and Brooke, right? They combined. They went 8 from 32 from three. And I would call them the Blues Brothers, to be honest, but I think some of our demographic might appreciate the Blues Brothers. So let me not insult them by saying that, right? But these guys stunk. They absolutely stunk tonight from three. It was embarrassing. At least Brooke chipped in 11 rebounds, though, and 4 blocks, right? So, yeah, that makes up a little bit for the tour. They at least mitigates it to an extent. Malik Beasley getting a shot blocked at the end. I was disheartened by this team tonight. I think I just saw a lack of fight, right? And then it seemed like every time they wanted to step on it, and then they just backed off. And then you had lapses like Dame with the dunk, Pat looking hesitant tonight. There's a lot of frustrating things to think about this team, and I hope we can clean up after the All-Star break. I know Justin, our guy, said that guys may have checked out, right? And that could be true. They could be what's it, 720. That's the spot the boys is getting down at in Milwaukee.
Okay. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, 720, the Tequila Lounge or whatever that is, right? Over there on I don't know.
Down there at the Heart, man. Down there at the daggone Heart. Down there at, all that. Red, white, and blue. Oh, come on now.
Little planet spot over there off center. Yeah, that's where these boys are. I don't know what they're doing, but hopefully they take this break, they get focused, and they come out, because at this point, post All-Star game, we need to be seeing some of the best basketball. You may have a couple games that are ugly in the beginning, but after that, we need this team playing at its best. And at this point, it just looks like this team has gone backwards. Overall, this performance by Doc is completely underwhelming. And the one thing I'm gonna kick to you, question. The one thing I asked though is, I guess, what did we really expect, right? What did we rationally expect under Doc? This man took over, didn't practice with the team for the first week, hasn't had a lot of practice, didn't get to know these guys, didn't have an off season. Yet we fired a guy that went 31-13 and got the guy off the golf course to come in. What did we expect? Are we crazy? Did we just think Doc was going to wave the magic wand and this team was going to be right back, in a better spot than it was when he first got here? I don't know, but I feel crazy at this point, because what's the definition of insanity, Trey?
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
And I promise you, we can have this show every night, and it's going to be the same thing. Dame going to be wildly efficient. We're going to have questions about the bench. People not going to be showing up, hitting shots. Things aren't going to make sense. We may have questions about the rotations, the substitutions, and the lack of adjustments. I mean, I'm going to kick the Chris, because, I could be on this all night. I'm on my soapbox.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. Look, every night we do this show, Trey, you're always asking, what did we see? And I think tonight I saw too much that I could just continue to ramble on. But first I want to talk about, what has Pat Connaughton realistically done to get 24 minutes and still have 20 minutes versus the Heat and keep getting these amount of minutes and provide nothing for you offensively and defensively. He's out there running around as well. Like tonight, I don't know why he was the point guard when Dame was out. What was that? You had Pat Beverly in the lineup. I don't know if he's the best at kind of facilitating a lineup, but why is Pat Connaughton the ball-dominant point guard in those stretches? That's one thing. Malik Beasley, I've caked up for him a lot, and I do like what he can bring when he shoots the three ball, but tonight it was just awful. And like you said, Trey, outside those 2 garbage time threes, he didn't even look like an NBA player out there. Defensively, a ton of lapses, and it just seems like we're always getting beat. People are just finding holes in our defense, and they're getting easy buckets, and there's no effort that tries to fix that down the stretch in these games. Like there was Vince Williams Jr. running their offense like he was Chris Paul. Like he was coming around screens, dishing, finding open guys. Like Vince Williams Jr. was just on a 2-way. They just signed him. He's all right, but he's no point guard. Like I watched him in college. He was a forward. So, like, this is just a horrible performance from top to bottom. Let's talk about the final couple minutes. You had Damian Lillard I was going to wear my watch tonight. That was non-existent.
Yeah.
First
Man,
off,
that's like one of the little touch screens at the back.
Yeah.
You hit that ATM and you hit it. You can't even see the lights on it. You keep hitting the touch screen and hitting the touch screen. Yeah, that's
battery's
bad.
not there. It's not charged. It's whatever. Because he really, I mean, you could argue he lost the game down the stretch for the Bucks. I mean, there
100%.
was a ton of, obviously we missed a lot of shots and stuff like that. But he had that turnover coming off that screen. And then not only does he do that, we fight all the way to get back and get the opportunity to make a three at the end. And he gets blitzed off of a screen and just coughs it up. And those guys aren't first team all defense. Like, this isn't a great defensive Memphis team. So, I mean, I saw a lot of that. I would have liked them to go to Giannis a little bit more down the stretch. They didn't do that when he was out there cooking everybody no matter what. I think also a little bit of that is some unselfishness that Giannis doesn't need to have, trying to kick it out to open shooters, because these guys obviously don't have his back. They can't make a damn open shot to save their lives. So he needs to just take control at that point. Didn't do that, and then that's why you saw what you saw. But just super disappointing, like you said, Trey. This was an opportunity to at least create some momentum going into the All-Star break. And now we're just left with a loss to a team that had 5 players on either a 10-day, an Exhibit 10, or a two-way contract.
What is it? The Bucks are 21-2, and Damian Lillard scores at least 26 points. You know how many he had tonight? 24, and they lost by 3. Well, so that 3 where he gets blitzed and he fumbles the ball off Brook Lopez. Like, we at the point now where the watch is so broke. It ain't just the time you can't get it to wind up, and you got the incorrect time, and you trying to run. The daggone links are missing on. Like, you can't even get the watch on at this point. He couldn't even get a legitimate shot up tonight. Like, man, right. You got to take the thing. I mean, that's what we're talking about now with Damian Lillard. Is like, I can't believe. I remember, and the crazy thing is, I went to so many games with my dad, and one of the things we'd always say we watching these teams under Larry Drew and freaking Scott Skiles and Jason Kidd and all these coaches, right? And we watch this basketball team, and every time at the end of games, in the shot clocks, end of quarters, end of halves, we turn to each other during the game, and I said, man, let's get a shot up. That was the hope for this basketball team when they were losing. Can we at least, because so many times I watch them, and it was just hard to even get a shot up because they throw the ball in and it's a turnover, or the shot gets blocked, or something stupid happens, right? And it's just like, man, if we could just get a shot up at the basket, I'll be happy with the result. We back there. I would never think that with Damian Lillard on this basketball team, that's the point we at where he can't. He fumbling the ball to get up. Now that Brook may be getting his way, I don't know. I had to watch the replay to see exactly what happened. But again, I'm blaming Damian Lillard because that's on you. And again, we talked the one he got blitzed and he threw the ball and I believe the Bucks were down 2 or it was a tie game, whatever. I think
they're up. 2. I think they're up 1. And then they came down. Gigi Jackson hit a 3 in the corner.
Well, yeah, that was the one where I think Giannis set the screen, someone sets the screen, and he can't even get the ball back to him like that. It's a live ball turnover, like, and that's for all the Dame. Again, I don't. You think I want to come up here and start trash talking Dame again? When we got Damian Lillard, I'm screaming from the mountaintops. Put the Bucks name on it, engrave the title now. And start engraving the Larry O'Brien now. Start making your banner now. That's the kind of talk I look like a fool. I like a straight up idiot talking like that before the season started. Because we traded. I did not know we traded for this guy. I mean, the John Horst, and again, I can't blame him for making the move to go get Damian Lillard. Because I mean, again, who knew? But so the Bucks need to hire some background personnel, some people who are going to be doing a little bit of some private investigators to figure out what's going on with people's lives on the back end, because you got to know who you're getting. And right now we got a guy who's not committed to playing basketball at a high level. That's the only thing I can blame it on, because I was looking at Damian Lillard highlight tape from Portland. He gets the same looks. He played a bunch of one-on-one in Portland. He had even more attention on him in Portland because they ain't even guard them other bums. He was getting the best of it. Everything was like, we got to get him, we got to get Dame, we got to get it. And he was cooking. That's not the guy we got right now. And I don't, for life of me, I can't understand why. I don't understand. Well, maybe I do understand, but this ain't it, dog. This ain't it. And again, maybe the light's too bright because you playing out in Portland where you lose, y'all win 35 games, don't nobody care. And maybe it's easy. Hey, we're talking about Malik Beasley was trash all night. down 9, turn into a hawk, don't he? Like that. And again, I know Malik Beasley, he's hit some clutch shots during the year. But I'm just saying, like when the pressure's off, it's easy to not. Man, I'm playing loose. It's free. When you have expectations up on you, it's a whole different ball game. And so again, maybe he should have went down to Miami because they don't care about the regular season. Maybe that's where he should have went, where the regular season don't matter down there. But in Milwaukee, and I hate to say it because it shouldn't matter here, but when you're trying to get acclimated to a basketball team, it just wasn't good enough. And for all those Damian Lillard fans that have all your Twitter accounts have Damian Lillard's face in them because you don't have because you live in your mom's basement, you don't have a personality of your own, and you're scared to write your name. Your Twitter name is Lillard love Lillard 7439X. What are you talking about, man? You're in. That's what y'all do online. Yeah, Damian Lillard just didn't have the ball. That's what the problem is. Well, he had the ball tonight. Threw it away. He had the ball and gave it up. Go ahead. I can't go, man. Talk. I ain't got nothing, man. I ain't got nothing.
What I think is disappointing and frustrating to most Bucks fans is that it too often it looks like when you're expecting something out of Damian Lillard in a key moment, the moment is just too big for Dame. For whatever reason it is, whatever the lapse is, I'm not really sure, but we were all expecting, and even in the beginning of the season, we was like, hey, get us this thing with 7-8 minutes left. All we need to do is be within single digits, and we about to go to work on it.
Hey, who was that? Who was that under, John?
Under Dr. Griffin.
Who was that under? Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. That was under Dr. Griffin.
How
does that go away? Right? Like how does that go away? If anything, and they said Doc was a consultant to this team, right? Can you be a consultant to a team that you don't watch?
He has denied that.
Maybe, right? Doctor.
He has denied that. The team denied that, but keep cooking. Right, keep cooking. Don't let me mess up don't let me mess you up, Chef.
Maybe he wasn't right. Well, did you not watch film, right? Like the first day that somebody not slide Doc some cut ups from. All right, listen, this is the 43 games that have gone down before you got here. Like I just don't understand this. Like this is how do you break that? That last 8 minutes was a thing of beauty under Dr. Griffin. Now. Speaking of your boy Dame, by the way, before I get to Dame, Malik Beasley. Y'all know Larsa and Marcus Jordan broke up, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying. I mean, Malik Beasley, right? Y'all remember the nonsense Malik Beasley and Larsa was up to before this whole thing went down with Marcus Jordan. So, I mean, we might have to watch out for him. Keep that man in the fister or wherever he's staying at, and just focus on basketball. But listen, Dame Lillard. Since January 29th, here we go. 5 for 13, 9 for 23 against Portland, right? 10 for 11 against Dallas, 5 for 18 against Utah, 9 for 18 against Charlotte, better. 6 for 15 against Denver, 5 for 14 against Miami, 7 for 21 tonight. I mean, the proof is in the numbers. This is awful, right? Like his shooting efficiency, it just does not make sense. And you can't tell me that the mental issues you're going through, significantly impact your ability to put the ball in the bucket here like this. Like, I mean, this is bad. This is awful. So maybe something else going on. Is he hurt? Does he not want to be here? I don't know. But at this point, I was so excited about Dame joining this team. But if we move on from him in the offseason and we find a way to upgrade, I'm okay with it if he's going to keep playing like this.
Yeah, and I also think there's something to be said about his defense, too. I mean, they were working that pick and roll all night. And, it would be different if we had another defender at the perimeter that could play alongside Dame. Obviously, Chris is out, but I don't think he's necessarily the defender that he once was. And the guys that you just have around Dame, it's not catered towards a defense. So at this point, like some of the comments said, it's just a bunch of jump shooters, and it's just Giannis. So I think that kind of puts everybody in a tough spot because you have these teams like a Heat the other night and like the Memphis Grizzlies who have young, fresh legs who want to play, who want to be out there giving their best and give an effort and show that they belong in the league. And sometimes if you don't bring that effort, they can do that and they can prove why they belong and beat a team like the Bucks. So I think there's also some questions about the effort that we've been seeing, and it's been all year, but at least under Coach AG, they were winning the games.
So you talk about, and some of the comments as well in here have talked about roster construction. I think somebody said that John Horst is one of the most overrated GMs. I would tend to disagree with that. But do you think that this roster, and I will agree, but that's the thing, the roster, I understood it when the problem was just defense, and it was like, well, this roster isn't built to defend. Okay, but the roster is built to score points. Like I don't know. Like the roster is built to do that. And again, some of this, when you talk about, I think a lot of culpability got to be on Doc Rivers too. Where, and again, I know he's only been in 10 games. He's only had a couple practices, but dog, you got to realize that Pat Connaughton is trash, man. Like, I know that y'all play golf together or whatever the hell y'all do, and that's cool, but play golf with him and then sit his ass on the end of the bench. Because, I mean, because that he does not provide anything. He's not, I saw Pat Connaughton get the ball tonight, and like he shot the first shot he took it, bricked it off the backboard, off the side, it was off the side of the rim, back of the rim. And then like he was done shooting at that point. He was like, I'm cooked. And then he got the ball once wide open. And it's like, dude, like if you're gonna be on the floor, you got to take open shots. Like, and he had the ball. He was scared to dribble it, and so he got the ball. Like if there's a double team on the other side, swings to him, and it's like you either got to shoot the ball because you're wide open, or you got to attack or make him. He got the ball. It was like a deer in headlights. No, didn't know what to do with it. Allowed the defense to get back set, and it's like, dog, you are killing us. You're not providing anything defensively. You're not. I mean, and not for lack of effort. He's just not big enough. So guys are shooting around him and shooting over him and getting past him. He's like a little bit too short and a little bit too slow. But there's nothing he can do. And kind of the same thing with Malik Beasley. It's not for a lack of effort, but you're a little bit too small for bigger guards, and you're a little bit too slow. That it just is what it is. And so maybe again, I don't understand how we have all these games that happen and Doc Rivers refuses to play Andre Jackson Jr. Like Marjon, and I don't even think Marjon Williams is like the answer to anything. He can do what Pat Connaughton does. He just can't. I get that the Bucks are missing Chris Middleton, and so I'll say this, and I know we're gonna kind of talk and shift into like a state of the Bucks kind of talk about where we are, and we can kind of get to that. I want to give you guys to give your last thoughts on this game in a second, and then we can kind of get to where we are and what we're gonna see from the Bucks in the future as they get to the All-Star break and they move past it. But this basketball team, in order to have an opportunity to win a championship, right? Like Giannis has proven he's gonna do what he does every single night. Damian Lillard's got to step up. Like Damian Lillard's got to step up. Chris Middleton's got to step up when he's in the game. And it's the issue with this Bucks team is the margin for error is so small. It is so small, and it's gonna take things that are uncomfortable. Like and again, Danilo Gallinari, and I know we're gonna talk about him in a second too. I know he's like a 15th man. He's come on, and it's one of those buyout signings. I need somebody that's gonna push Bobby Portis for time, like legitimately push it because I can't. Do you know when Doc Rivers brings in his substitutions, right? When Doc is making his rotations, it goes so Giannis will come off, and then and usually Giannis goes off, and then Bobby comes on, or if it's Brook, whoever. The Bucks, until Brook and Giannis are back on the floor together, Bobby plays like the equivalent of like 14 straight minutes on the court at once. Like, but he doesn't do that with anybody. That's what I don't understand, because you don't let Giannis play 14 consecutive minutes. Like, at most, you might get a full quarter. Like, actual game playing time, Bobby Portis might be on the floor for like the equivalent of like 13 or 14 minutes in a row, because he's the only other big that you play. And so it's like, I'd rather put in Andre Jackson Jr. I'd rather go small. I'd rather put in Thanasis. I'd rather do I can't have 15-minute stretches of Bobby Portis, dog. Like, he's just not good enough. But give me your thoughts, like I said, on this, and then we'll get to kind of state of the Bucks as well. Moving forward.
So I don't want to overreact and say that we just, I don't want to overreact too much, but we did not compete tonight. And I think Doc said comments after the game. He's like, some of us are here, some of us were in Cabo. Yeah, that was apparent, right? Having said that, though, I agree with you. Doc deserves a lot of Doc deserves a lot of culpability here. He 100% does. So yeah, maybe we see some changes after the break. I still can't figure out why Pat Connaughton is getting the playing time he's getting. If this were Boston, I would understand that, right? Not even so much because of performance, just because of like kind of how that thing works. You know how Boston likes what Boston likes. But like I don't get why we're forcing this Pat Connaughton thing, and I agree with you, right? But if we can see it, there has to be something that Doc sees or doesn't see or doesn't care, right? Because this does not make any sense. And quite honestly, like you talked about, there's little things that are hurting this team. Bobby Portis playing, what you say, 14, 15 minutes straight. Like that ain't it, right? Pat Connaughton taking over, becoming the de facto point guard if Dame goes out. Like that does not work. So yeah, we got to figure this thing out. But another very frustrating loss for Bucks tonight.
Oh, definitely. And I also think that, we've already spent so much time talking about, all right, we'll wait till about March and April to see if they're playing their best ball. But at this point, when you start losing to these bad teams, that thing can hurry itself up because, when you start to get into the tougher stretches, like you said, we got to go out west, play the LA teams, the Thunder and stuff like that. We got a tough schedule coming up. Then I don't know how much better this team is going to fare against better teams, to be quite honest. Like these two teams we just played in the past 3 days were not good. And they should have been blowout wins, and they were not. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's a little bit quicker in the overreaction because, look, these are 2 games that you shouldn't have lost, and you had an opportunity after you beat the Nuggets on Monday to really create some momentum in just – maybe win 3 straight or 4 straight, whatever it was, ahead of the All-Star break and kind of create some optimism around this team. But at this point, no, it's not that for me, and I'm officially concerned.
I am. My concern. I think last time we probably talked about concern level was probably like a 2 or a 3 for me. It's a 5. Mm-hmm. I'm at a 5 right now. So concern level. Doc Rivers after the game, he said we had some guys here, some guys in Cabo. So he is he is well aware of the fact that the effort was not there from the Bucks. Let's get to some comments because we got a lot of comments that have come in on YouTube and on Twitter. John Hassel says, "All you beat." I think he's talking to you, JT.
Probably me too.
He says, "All you Beasley backers, y'all don't know basketball. Don't even know why I tried." Trent Comp said,
"Hey, what?"
Trent, go. You want to respond?
Beasley backers, bro. Like,
Beasley backers.
Oh, bro. I know we're gonna pause that, right? Yeah, all right. Anyway, I like John Hassel though, man.
Yeah, John Hassel's funny.
Frequently contributes and has a lot of meaningful comments, but I need him to clarify.
You like that? Okay, so we want clarification on Beasley backers,
right? And how we don't know basketball. I just don't understand where he's going here, but I'm sure he'll jump back in.
Yeah. D. Coles 123 says, I'll be honest, this is all on John Horst. He can't properly scout talent, so he buys old trash names with the Bucks' future. Coach Lowell Ricketts, the second time we had a coach in here. The coaches love coming in. Says, who thought the Doc Rivers hire was good? Coach Ricketts, where do you coach at? I just want to know where do you coach at? So if you care to tell us. Green Ranger says, bro, they don't even guard Pat Connaughton. His confidence is gone. He's gun shy. He's pump faking and driving. Crowder is too slow to play on the perimeter. And then Jonathan Curatalo says, bro, really blaming Giannis is hilarious. Well, maybe somebody in the chat is doing that. I don't know who blamed Giannis here. Zone 3123 says, now y'all getting confused. Some good teams will just blow it because they're not going all out. Bucks have to win certain games. I hear what you're saying, and but again, we've done that throughout it's been 55 games of kind of talking about some of that. And yeah, I get blowing it, but you don't blow it back to back. Like you had your opportunity. You blew it against the Heat the other night when they were without Josh Richardson and without Jimmy Butler and without some of their guys. You can't blow it again against this Memphis Grizzlies team. That's trash. And then let's see. James Henderson says Doc Rivers is coaching worse than Griffin. If he doesn't stop playing Patton Lopez at the end of games, we won't make the play-in. Okay, I won't go that far. A little too far. And then a lot of people saying John Horst is the problem. Todd Merrill, excuse me, says you keep telling me that you couldn't trade Dame. So this is a conversation me and Todd always have in DMs on Twitter. We talk about the Bucks all the time. He says, you keep telling me Bucks couldn't trade Dame. Why do you feel that way? I thought he should have been traded to salvage this disaster of a trade at deadline. So and I'll just address this, and then we can move on to the state of the Bucks. The reason I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this, but the reason you don't trade Dame is because you brought in Dame at the start of a year. You don't give up on him 40 games. You hear the way I'm talking about Dame right now. I don't feel like he shouldn't be on the basketball team. Like, I think he just has to play better. Like, and at this point, your best option or your best chance to win a championship is Damian Lillard going all out. And it's like, dog, like, just be smarter about your shot selection and just be a smarter basketball player. Like if you're gonna shoot 3 of 13, just take 6 threes. Take 6 and trade those 6 threes for 6 more shots that are either in the paint or mid-range shots. Like trade those back. The 3 ball's not hitting, and I feel like he feels like he has to hit it. He got to shoot it. Just get inside, man. Get in the lane. And the crazy thing is, I said this earlier today too. Like I think Giannis is the best facilitator on the basketball team. Like I almost want to say by far, but he is the best. Like he is a better passer than Damian Lillard. I did not know that. I think that was one of the questions when we got Damian. That was one of the first questions we asked on this show. Was like, well, how good of a passer is Damian Lillard? Like, how good of a facilitator is he? I don't think we really knew. And what I have found out is that he is at mid to average at best. And I always think that Giannis doesn't get the proper respect for a passing big. Is he Joker? No, he's not Joker. He's not Sabonis. He's not some of those guys. But he is a very good passing big, especially for the amount of double teams that he generates and how much time he has, how much of the time and usage rate he has with the basketball. So I actually would say that he is probably our best facilitator, and maybe the second best is Chris Middleton, and then you get to Damian Lillard.
A problem though?
It could be.
I think that's what I'm saying. I 100% think that's an issue, right? So here's my thing: we have 26 games left, right? So the Bucks are 3-7 right now. So if we just equally apply 13, if we keep doing what we're doing, right, we would finish at what 13. So we'd finish at what 16 and 20. Doc would finish the season at 16 and 20 if all things stay consistent right now, right? If he's 3-7, that's right, 3-7. Would you feel real confident about this team finishing the year at 16 and 20 going into the playoffs? I don't know, right? I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't, right? I would rather see I'd rather see that the scales tipped, and I'd rather see the record a little bit more favorable than that. And that's just something that you got to think about. That's some way that's just kind of how we got to look at this thing. I agree with you on the point that Giannis is a great passer. I think Giannis is a great passer. I see it. Some of it is because he's selfless. Some of it is vision as well. He does not get the respect that he probably deserves as a passer, but I think that's just because that's not what has him in the MVP conversation. It's the fact that he brings it night in and night out, right, and fills up the stat sheet. I think in obviously in points and rebounds. I think that's just what the rest of the world knows Giannis as. Whereas we who watch Bucks games every week, every night, we see how gifted Giannis is as a passer.
What's a lot more concerning for me, and I think a lot of people will probably echo the same thing, is that if this is how we're feeling in year one of Damian Lillard and all the pieces we have around Giannis, what's it going to be like down the road? Especially if this team loses and they still kind of hold on to that loyalty of the guys that contributed to their first championship in, 70 years? Or 50 years or something like that. So, I just think that there's a lot to be said about this roster construction for sure, and what they're ultimately going to do if this doesn't result in a championship. And even if it does, even if they completely flip around 180 this thing and get a championship, you still got the same problems that you had throughout the regular season in terms of people being old, people not being able to defend, follow young guys around the perimeter, and be able to, just be able to keep up. And so that's my biggest concern about the state of who we are at this moment. And it's also concerning because they're playing themselves out of their value. These guys who were once probably worth more, and if you flipped them a little bit sooner, now obviously you had to keep running it back after winning a title. But I just think that they're playing themselves out of their own value, and then it kind of scares me if they do try to go in a younger direction, what they're able to get.
I think that so and again, right now, so as we look through the rest of the season, and John, you mentioned, what did you say, 16 and 20 is the pace that they're on, or something like that, a little under 500. No, we talked about this, like the Bucks need to be playing their best basketball, in through March and into April before the playoffs. So absolutely not with the way the Bucks have played. I think, let me just check this out really quickly, if I can. The Bucks right now are 3-7 in their last 10. So no, if the Bucks are 3-7 in their last 10 going into the playoffs, hell no, I have no faith in the basketball team that is doing that. And the crazy is, I've talked a lot of trash. I've talked a lot of trash to some folk, and there's some folk who I've been telling I'm gonna bet them when it get to the playoffs, and I'm gonna look real scary because I ain't no emotional better. I don't bet emotional. I'm going to renege on all them bets that I promised I was gonna make because I'm not gonna bet on no team that's 3-7 in the last 10 going to playoffs. And Damian Lillard looking like this. So y'all, the people are making me look bad. Is what's happening. But I guess my thing is this team still can get it together. And to your point, Chris, like the schedule does get tougher. Like once you get to March 1st, you got some trash that's coming up. And I'll tell you what too. After the All-Star break, you got a couple back-to-back games against the Charlotte Hornets. Them boys looking decent. I've sit in Charlotte now. I watch them on Bally's. They look decent. They have come to that new look Charlotte Hornets team has come together. I think they beat the Atlanta Hawks the other night, and they look much better. So it's not gonna be the Charlotte team you just beat the other night. You have to go out and beat these teams. And again, I think that's what they need. You need this coming up, this tough schedule, and you're gonna either put up or shut up. Like you either gonna show guys are either going to step up or you're going to get your butt beat on a nightly basis, and people are going to talk about you, and people are going to question your GM, and they're going to question Giannis. And I said this before. I said this on 97.3 game on John Kuhn 9 to noon. When I was a guest on there, I told Giannis, you're not going to get away with the joke this time. And again, and it's not. Let me tell you something. It's not Giannis' fault at all. It's not Giannis' fault. What's happening is not because Giannis is doing this thing every single night, but that's the responsibility of a superstar. Everything falls on your shoulders. And that's why we talked about Brock Purdy and everything. Like again, when some people think Brock Purdy is a top 10 quarterback, and the reason I'm just saying the reason I know, but the reason the reason he gets that is because he's going to get the acclaim when they win, right? He's gonna get the accolades when San Francisco wins. But you're also going to be looked at as part of the reason they lose. And it's just because you're the quarterback. No matter whether it's Kyle Shanahan, whether whatever the issue is, that's what Giannis is going to have to bear that cross. From whether it's the fact that coaching was messed up, John Horst didn't put a roster around you, Malik Beasley was trash, Damian Lillard was trash. All of that can happen. But I'm telling you, you get to the end of the season and you try to tell a little joke. Success is not linear. I mean, why? What do you mean? I know. What is the failure? You're not gonna be able to play that game, dog. I'm just saying, whether you agree with it or not, I don't even necessarily know that I agree with it. You are going to either be the hero or you're gonna get blamed. And I'm telling you, a joke, and because I'm gonna say that a joke's not gonna work at the end of the year. That's all I'm telling you. It's not gonna work this year.
Well, okay, so
a good accent, by the way.
Here. The thing about Giannis, though, is that man is doing his part night in and night out. He is the only thing consistent on this entire roster right now. The other guys that are consistent are typically consistently inefficient or consistently bad, right? Giannis is doing his thing night in and night out, and you can't take anything away from him. The question I have, though, is that how is that not rubbing off on other players, right? Giannis can't seem to get some of these guys going. Doc clearly can't seem to get any of these guys going, right? So now the question, okay, if Giannis can't do it and Doc can't do it, you got to ask these guys to motivate themselves. How am I motivate Pat Connaughton if he lost his confidence? How's Pat Connaughton going to motivate himself if he don't have no confidence, right? How's Damian Lillard going to motivate himself if that instinct isn't there and he hesitant, he kind of half-stepping here and there? What are you supposed to do here? That's putting too much on Giannis, right? Now, I agree with you. They're gonna hold his feet to the fire at the end of the season too. 100%. If this team underachieves, and you're right, and they're gonna ask him questions, right? And whatever my man's name, the reporter that covers the Bucks, I ask him 1,001 follow-up questions. If you want to say something goofy to me, you want to talk to me about how nice Oreos and milk are for the first time, or how you just discovered a brat at 30 years old, or whatever nonsense you want to talk about, and you want to get up here and you want to objectively deny that this season was a failure when you just missed 13 free throws. Yeah, no, and I hope they hold his feet to the fire, and I hope they do the same thing to John Horst and Doc Rivers.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of blame to go around for sure. I also want to talk about the fact that, I mean, yeah, Pat Bev was bad tonight, but like, you would think that with the play that Pat Connaughton has been showing lately, that at least Pat Bev would get that role. and at least get more than, what does he get, like 15 minutes a game at this point, or less than that. And at least you brought him in for a reason. Like, we made one move at the trade deadline. And you've got this guy kind of rotting away on the bench, and you have no other backup point guard because the other one you sent in that trade. So I'm just confused as to what that is too with Doc. And then obviously we talk about the talent recognition from John Horst, and they fired AG, and Giannis was a big catalyst in wanting to hire him. It's just it's weird, man. And when people do ask the question about maybe getting to the dysfunctional organization thing, these are the kind of things that I look at.
Yeah, and I guess for me it's listen, this from top to bottom, it's got to be better. And again, that's why we talk about the trade deadline, Chris. I know, and I understand. I don't know what you would have got back for Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton, and maybe you didn't get the return that you were looking for. But I kept saying addition by subtraction. It would have been addition by subtraction. Just getting those guys out would it. You can't tell me because it's like, well, who are you getting better? You're getting upgrade. You can't tell me the average small forward, shooting guard, just the average guy. Because I think Pat Connaughton's playing at a below average level. Generic small shooting guard, small forward type, 6'4", 6'5" guy is doing what Pat Connaughton is doing. Generic 6'10" guy. Now, can they score at the rate? Bobby Portis is almost streaky to where he has these big games where he produces. But the thing is crazy is even in the games where he's scoring a lot, even in those games, he's giving up just as many on the other end. So it really doesn't do anything when he almost has to not miss for him to be a net positive on the floor, because he's gonna give up everything right back. That's all it is. So I don't know. Listen, this team right now, the state of the Bucks, they are not where they need to be. Doc Rivers has to get this thing figured out from top to bottom. They've got to figure this thing out and get organized. And again, you've heard all the dysfunction that they had under Adrian Griffin, and people are yelling and all. Like, and that's what I'm saying. I that's what go back to Bobby Portis, who was doing all. It was yelling and are you yelling now? Like you look worse. So are you doing all that talk now to Doc Rivers? Is that how you're treating him, or now is the losing acceptable? Because you got a guy in there that you respect. Again, there's a grass ain't always green on the other side. And again, I want to give Doc Rivers credit and time to get this thing right, but it doesn't. Get through a couple Twitter comments. At He Manson says, this Bucks team is not even enjoyable to watch. The effort is up and down. The team IQ, oh wow. The team IQ is below special needs. And the only thing that is consistent is the fact that they are guaranteed to disappoint you. Dead team walking. Damn, that was tough. At Drew Barrett says, I wonder how Bucks fans will feel if we had the same team and coaches last season and were 35-21. Trading for Dame raised expectations, and the Bucks have so far failed to meet them. At Trent X Comp says, I'm afraid we are a first-round exit regardless of the opponent. Don't give a damn about the record. This is a bad basketball team. Dame is beyond washed. Bench atrocious, just terrible all around. Now I'll read one more here. I want to stop because I'm gonna ask you about this. And then at JR Horford says, after tonight, I'm done with this team. Can't invest any more time and energy into this group. They are sloppy. They are not connected. They are old. They are slow. I feel badly for Giannis. Never should have traded Drew. Dame sucks. Chris sucks. What a joke. I'm out. People are mad. I want to ask you, so right now, where do you think, because Trent X Comp said that he thought the Bucks were a first round exit. Where do you see the Bucks right now? Like in the East, I just get, okay, you tell me in a 7-game series, let me just go down. In a 7-game series, I want you guys to tell me, based on what you've seen right now throughout the entire year, okay? You guys tell me, we'll do this real quick, word association. 7-game series. Who wins? Bucks and the New York Knicks. Who wins in how many games?
I think Milwaukee wins, right? Because based off what I've seen this entire season, I have seen this offense rolling. I have seen this offense clicking, and I just feel like the Milwaukee Bucks have a bit more horsepower than the Knicks do if both teams are playing at their best. So I'm going Milwaukee wins a 7-game series against the Knicks.
And how many games would they beat the Knicks, do you think?
Probably 6.
6 games against the Knicks. Chris, Bucks, Knicks, who wins the series? How many games?
So I think just based off of personnel and your go-to guys, I would take the Bucks, but I'm definitely concerned. I would probably say 7 games. And if you pick any other matchup and you go down the line, I'm probably taking the other team.
All right, Indiana Pacers, 7-game series. Who wins the series?
I'm gonna go Bucks. And the reason why I'm gonna go Bucks is Indiana kind of had the Bucks number earlier this year, but I feel like in a 7-game series, right? Giannis and Dame at some point would get clicking. You get Chris, you get your healthy squad in there. Beasley's going to get hot at least a few games, right? Brook chipping in. Yeah, some of it's probably optimism, but I still would probably take Bucks. Now in that series, I probably would go Bucks in 7.
Proof is in the pudding. I'd say I'm taking Pacers in 6. And I have no issue doing that from what I've seen so far this season. And honestly, the Pacers have been proactive. Have we even played them with Pascal Siakam? I don't think so, right?
No, I don't think
See, so I mean, and they're doing their thing right now, and obviously getting rid of Buddy Hield and just putting that trust into Ben Mathurin, man. I think they're a better team right now.
I do too, and the crazy thing is this: I think if the Bucks lose, like I don't think it's gonna to a team like Indiana or New York or something like that. It's gonna be like I don't think it'll be like 7-game series. It's gonna be like that team just kicked their ass. Like I think if the Bucks are able to find ways to win, and you're talking about a long drawn out series, I think the Bucks figure it out. Like what would and it would be probably even more disappointing. I think you losing like I don't say you swept, but yeah, you're probably losing like 5. It would be to me for the Bucks to lose to an inferior opponent like the Indiana Pacers or the New York Knicks. It would be like a 5. It'll be like last year against the Heat, where it's like 5 games and they just came out and you had 0 answers. That's what I think would happen. Like I think if it's going 6 or 7 with anybody, yeah, I would trust our guys because clearly they found ways to win. So it's to me it's like the two extremes. Okay, Miami Heat right now. Miami Heat, who you got?
We just lost to the Heat without
Jimmy Terry and
singer of the we just lost. You're right. We just lost to the Heat without the lead singer.
This man said lead singer.
Oh, you saw him show up on the media photo day with that hair and everything else, right? You think he's special? You think he's
Wake me up when September ends. What's the man's name?
Yeah, that's a little. I think that's the Green Day joint.
That's what he looked like. That's what he looked like. He looked like
what's my man's name from Fall Out Boy? The Jamaican dude, Pete Wentz.
I don't know their names.
So you know Pete.
I know Pete Wentz, but he's Jamaican.
Man, do your Googles, man. Do your Googles. Yes, man. Pete Wentz is Jamaican. See, y'all can learn something listening to the Queen City crossover. Man, we're trying to educate y'all.
Now, Miami. See. Here's the thing: if Doc Rivers were to put Giannis on Jimmy Butler, and I feel like it's a matchup thing. If Doc Rivers were to put Giannis on Jimmy Butler, because somebody in the comments says K&A family says Jimmy would drop 50 on us again. Miami would beat us 6. Like don't forget now the Bucks did beat Miami twice with Jimmy Butler in the lineup. They lost without him, but the Bucks have beaten this team twice. Now again, both of those wins were under who? Dr. Adrian Griffin. But I think if you were to put Giannis on Jimmy Butler, I think you'd be fine because you wouldn't have that 50-point barrage from because like I said, I think you can withstand the threes. You can't withstand the threes and Jimmy killing you. So again, Giannis is going to take on a much bigger matchup. I think I would pick the Bucks in a series against the Heat. Chris?
Yeah, I just have a hard time going against, if Giannis gets back into it and is guarding Jimmy, I have a hard time going against Giannis in that one because I think there is an agenda there that Giannis and Jimmy kind of battle in the playoffs, and I think this will be the time to do it. So I think I would take the Bucks right now, but that's not a confident answer, especially after what we just saw on Tuesday. That's not a confident answer by any means. And if those guys have it going, they're role players who they're kind of developing and are in the midst of developing, then, man, it could go either way.
Philly with Embiid back, and so I'll go first. I think, again, this is a team kind of similar, makeup, in my opinion, to a Denver, where you actually have the matchup favors you, because even with Embiid, you have Brook Lopez who doesn't really get played off the floor at all because Embiid isn't a mobile, agile center. Now, is he going to cook? Is he going to score? Yeah, he's going to score and Embiid some. He's going to score and Brook Lopez some. But again, you can beat him up for 30, 40 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes of the game, put Giannis on him and get him there. So I actually think the Bucks would handle Philly in like I would say relatively easy.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Look, listen, man, the only team that I am not confident in, obviously, right now is Boston. I am not confident that we can that we can beat.
You think you can beat
Boston.
Cleveland? You think you beat because Cleveland's won like 18 or they've like won like 17 in the last 19 games, something crazy like that.
I'm more
Donovan
confident
Mitchell has looked so much better than Damian Lillard. It ain't even funny.
Ooh, that's a good point. Ooh, okay, so Cleveland. All right.
I'm just asking. I don't know. Would you take the Bucks in the series over Cleveland?
I will say that series is going 7 games. I think that series goes 7 games, but Cleveland looks like a better team than us today at this point.
Okay, for me, so just the past two that you mentioned, Philly and Cleveland. Obviously, we haven't played Philly since the first game of the season, so that's kind of been like it's weird to kind of even rehash that because we're a different team than we were the first game of the season under AG and when Dame actually was clutch in the final couple moments.
Right.
But, you and I say this all the time, Trey, about how these opposing guards are just outplaying Damian Lillard. And I have 100% faith that Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, and Darius Garland would cook Dame in these 7-game series at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and say I would pick Philly if Joel Embiid is even remotely of what he was. And then I would take the Cleveland Cavaliers because I think their depth is also a lot better, and they have a front court that can deal with Giannis and Brooks. So, I think those are the two reasons why I would take those two teams at this point. From what I've seen lately, I mean, this has just been bad. So.
Yeah, well, listen. I guess people saying that Maxey would average 40. I don't know. And again, maybe he would. The issue is that he'd have to play through. They would play through Embiid so much more. And again, I don't. The issue with Embiid is again he's had his own playoff failures. Is his health will come into question. Mm-hmm. He has a hard time in a series because you're going 4 and 5 games against guys that are the same size as you. Like say with Brook Lopez, who's gonna body you up. I just don't think he holds up through a 7-game series. So as a series goes, especially now let's say you're past the first round and you're in round 2 and it's he just does not. He just has not proven to me that he can hold up throughout a playoff series. So I get with Maxey cook, yes, but I think Giannis would cook. And again, you're hoping about Dame, but I see what. Yes, I would agree that all of those guys will probably outscore and outplay Dame. And then if you go to Boston, like Boston is probably the team. I agree with you, JT, that there's no way right now I'll put the Milwaukee Bucks over the Boston Celtics. Like Boston should if you were to ask me and I had to put a bet down on Boston Milwaukee right now, I would put it on Boston in 5. Like right now the Bucks don't have a chance with how they're playing right now, and that's sad to say. That hurts me to say that about this basketball team. They don't have a chance right now playing the Boston Celtics. They would get absolutely destroyed.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. Just because the margin for error is so small against a team like that, and we're watching the Bucks come out, and some nights they're not even competing at all, right? Like it's just not there. And I agree. I don't feel confident about that matchup at all. I'd be shocked if that matchup with the 6 games, like you said, with with the way the Bucks are playing now. But I do want to remind everybody, listen, we're well past the halfway point of the season. We got 26 games left to figure this thing out after the All-Star break. And I think that's what we got to remember.
I would say for Boston, I'm definitely taking the Celtics over the Bucks at this point. And I also want to bring up something that I just kind of had in the back of my head is that, Drew getting over to Boston is probably the worst thing that could have happened. And I think that's everybody probably agrees with that. But I just think that Drew Holiday as a player, it's a lot easier for him to make that adjustment into an already good team that he can kind of step back his role a little bit and they don't have to depend on him. We grabbed Dame from a Portland team that has never really been good, and we're expecting him to kind of adjust to a Giannis and a new team like this. And, maybe that is something that was a mistake to even do at this point, just the way that Drew has been able to adjust to Boston.
Yeah, I ain't buying no Drew Holiday.
I would take him back right now at this point.
And I wouldn't go that far because again,
I'd take
Drew
him back.
Holiday he's the 5th. What's happening with Drew is so he's the 5th option over in Boston. They self-checking him. So he's hitting a decent amount of threes. They're wide open. Again, it's a great fit in Boston. But if you brought Drew to this basketball team, he'd have to go back to being a primary player that you have to rely on to put up 20, 25 points in a playoff series and consistently. And I don't believe he's that guy. Like he is playing. I will give you credit. I think he's playing some decent basketball in Boston, but his role and responsibilities they've shrunk. I mean, yeah, he's gone from a guy who has to be on ball at all times, making plays, to a guy who brings the ball, throws it into Tatum, throws it into KP, and stands in the corner and waits on the basketball and plays defense. That's all you gotta do. So I mean, he just doesn't have the same roles and responsibilities. And again, we saw what happened through multiple playoff series when Jrue Holiday has to be your second best or third best player. He doesn't have if he was in Milwaukee, he would not have the luxury of being able to stand in the corner and watch everybody else play, and hopefully the ball comes to him and just make hustle plays and grit plays like he has to do in Boston right now. So I give him that. King of Kings says Jrue exposed Dame 10 years ago. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And then Mac for a better tomorrow says, you 100% confident that Giannis, Chris, Dame, and Brook are going to make it through the playoffs without injury? I'm betting the field. That's a good point. That's a good point. On Chris is the only guy that I really think, I would be kind of
concerned.
Yeah, concerned with on that. A lot of people in the chat right now. Listen, man, subscribe, like, follow, all that good stuff, man. We really appreciate it. The Cream City Crossover give you this good stuff every single night after Milwaukee Bucks play. Last time we're doing this before the All-Star break. We'll probably have some videos coming up during the All-Star break. But again, appreciate you guys rocking with us at the Cream City Crossover. And listen, so any final words right now on the state of the Milwaukee Bucks? Before we get into the Milwaukee Bucks getting Danilo Gallinari, and then, like I said, we'll kind of keep rolling this and get the rest of the show pretty quickly. But last words on the state of the Bucks and what you're seeing right now. I think John said the Bucks have played 55 games or so, and they have 26 games left.
They got 26 games left.
26 games left. So anything last words on where the Bucks are at right now and what you've seen and what you need to see from this basketball team moving forward.
I mean, I think we've already covered it. I think the reality of it is they got to figure this thing out. There's effort issues. I think there's adjustment issues. There's lineup issues. The only thing you have right now to hang your hat on is that you got arguably the best player in the league, and he's going to come out and he's going to bring it every single night. And you got a ton of guys who have the absolute potential to, again, turn this into a historic offense like we've seen already. But they got to show up. They got to show up, and they got to figure it out, right? I don't know. Go see the Wizard of Oz. Go see what you got to do. If you're lacking something internally, figure it out, right? If it's in Cabo, great. If it's in the Caribbean, great. But you got to figure this thing out because I mean, this team right now is looking like it's limping towards the finish line, and I don't like that, right? I don't think anybody feels comfortable with that.
For what I would say is, these past couple of losses, I just don't see a lot of team basketball. I don't see a team that wants to win. I don't see a team that can't stop settling for threes when they're not going in. Against a team like the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, where you definitely had the dominant interior, you could have went inside a lot more, and you just didn't do it. And I kind of want it to be on, I mean, just everybody, Doc, but all the players as well, to kind of take control of this thing and not let it get any worse than it's already been. And yeah, I mean, I just have to see better basketball. Like every time I turn on the Bucks, I don't know what to expect, and there's no consistency there outside of Giannis, and that's really what I want to see down the stretch after this All-Star break. So hopefully, I don't know, these guys get into the 3-point contest and the All-Star game, and they kind of realize that, look, we need to be better here and not be the laughing stock of the NBA, because I think that's what we are at this point.
Well, the consistency has been that they've been consistently inconsistent. And, I agree with you. And tonight we were pretty hard on the Bucks but there's 26 games left. And John, to your point, like we talked about this, and I've held this kind of, I think for the most part, we've been as positive as we could be for 55 games. We talked about, firing the coach midseason. I know. And the funny thing, I know everybody just thought like, oh, a breath of fresh air. Everybody thought that it was just going to be all easy. And again, I'm telling you, and this may end up like that. I'm not saying that it won't, but you don't fire your coach in the middle of the year and typically that does not just lead to this great success. I know people like to point out David Blatt, and they want to point out, certain people. Who was the coach before the Miami Heat? And they won with Pat Riley or whatever. But again, Doc Rivers ain't Pat Riley, and Doc Rivers ain't Ty Lue. So you didn't have that waiting in the wings to bring those guys on. So that's what I will say about that. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but this show will get. I'm just being totally honest with you. This show will continue to get more and more negative as the season goes on. If these are the results that the Bucks continue to come out with. Shout out to our new subscriber Steve Ehrlich. Shout out to Steve. And then John House. John House, you're in the chat every night. You've just finally subscribed, so I appreciate you, dog. Hey man, like I said, man, you subscribe during the show, we're gonna call you out. Appreciate you doing it. Let's move on. The Milwaukee Bucks have signed Danilo Gallinari for the rest of the season. He has agreed to sign with the Bucks. His agent Michael Tellum of Excel Basketball told ESPN on Thursday Gallinari's had stops at the Wizards and Pistons this season. He chose the Bucks over a few contenders because of the opportunity to make an impact on the frontline rotation of Doc Rivers. So maybe that's like some foretelling of maybe Doc Rivers told him, "Hey, Danilo, you're gonna get an opportunity to play," and I think he should. Like if Bobby Portis can play like this, he should. So we'll see how that works for him. He's averaged 15 points and 4 boards in his career, including stops the Knicks, Nuggets, Clippers, Thunder, and Hawks. You guys, let's give me. I'll go first on my thoughts of Danilo Gallinari. He kind of fits the Bucks mold, like drop dead shooter. He can score the ball. I remember in a playoff series, or like Danilo Gallinari, was he playing with the Celtics that year? Like there was one playoff, I can't remember who he was with. There was a playoff series. I don't remember if it was the Hawks or who. There was a playoff series with Danilo Gallinari. He has this old man game where like it just kind of kills you, and it's like, how is he scoring? Now I don't know how. Again, he's getting up there in age, so I don't know if it's still like that. I can't wait to see what he looks like on the Bucks. But he has a game when I remember, again, this was probably a couple years ago, where you could play tight defense up on him, and he just finds ways to score. So we'll see what he's like. My expectations are low, but this is a low risk, high reward type of thing. He's not gonna play any defense, you know that. But you're not getting that from Bobby Portis anyway right now. So I think it's really a change of pace guy where if Bobby Portis is stinking it up and not shooting the ball well, you can maybe, instead of having to play like we talked about, John and Chris, we talked about, Bobby Portis having to play like these 15-minute stretches when both Brook and Giannis are out, as the big man, because we only have really one other guy that plays that rotation right now, and we don't play this quote-unquote small ball anymore. You could maybe see a Danilo Gallinari get some minutes and take away some of Bobby's time. So that'll be interesting to see. Again, my expectations are low. I don't think it's that. I think, you're at the buyout market anyway. It's limited in what you can get. This one of the guys we talked about, between the Wesley Matthews. You talked about PJ Tucker's actually got sent away from the Clippers because of, I guess, his attitude right now. So, and it didn't make any sense for PJ Tucker to get a buyout because he's got $11 million coming to him. So why would you buy yourself out when you got a player option for another $11 million? Anybody else can get $11 million. So, again, this is probably the best that John Horst could do at this point. I know some people want to get younger. I see people say, why don't you bring, what's my man, Kai Jones? What's his name? Oh, crackhead. Yeah, you can't.
Was wild.
Yeah, you can't. Listen, man. The Bucks got enough problems. We do not need crack in the locker room.
No,
so
sir.
I'm good off of that. But yeah, so again, I didn't know Gallinari, good guy. I like him. We'll see how he does, and I said hopefully he can be an impact. If not, he's just sit on the bench with the Nassus, and Bucks will move on.
Yeah, look, you get a 6'10" guy who's played the 2, 3, and 4 all throughout his career. And like you said, he's a 3-point shooter career, 38%, averages right around 5 per game. He can come in, knock down a few shots, and do that. Great. Keep this thing rolling, right? You got another very strong 3-point shooter that you're adding here. I agree with you. I'm not sure he's going to do much on the perimeter defensively. I'm going to assume he's probably not quick enough to stick with smaller guys, small forwards. Maybe he gives you something on the block. I doubt it, but yeah, we're filling out the bench. This is a buyout market. He finds his way into the rotation. He can make a meaningful contribution. Great. If he can't, oh well.
I also want to point out.
Chris, Green Ranger said, if I sat behind John Horst at the game, I'd slap him in the back of the head.
Hey, I'll probably be on the
Go
same.
ahead.
I'll probably be on the
Hey,
same time. And look,
Y'all
I
funny,
just
man.
saw G.G. Jackson put up 27 against this Bucks team when you drafted Andre Jackson Jr. about 14 spots ahead of him. But that's
Doc
a
wouldn't have
conversation.
played him.
Yeah,
Doc wouldn't
probably
have played him.
not, probably not. But that's a conversation we've already had and we won't get
Yeah.
into. But I will say this about Danilo Gallinari: he's coming off of a torn ACL. The guy's 35 years old. Obviously, you weren't going to be able to get much better out of this buyout market. But I wouldn't look at this as some mid-season acquisition that's going to make this team a whole lot better. I just, with the injury history, with the age, with how this team is playing, yeah, it's going to be good to give Bobby a guy to kind of keep him on his P's and Q's. But other than that, or on his T's and Q's, I'll say. But other than that, like I don't think this is some world beater move. I don't think this is gonna make this team a whole lot better. It just is what it is at this point. Hopefully, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll do something. But the area that we needed help was the guard position. We needed depth at that. We needed perimeter defense. Obviously, there probably wasn't many options at the buyout. But yeah, I'm not looking to this move to be some crazy move for the Bucks.
I agree with all that. Make sure. Okay, I agree with all that. I was so we got new subscribers. Swanklin, San Diego. Swanklin.
What's happening?
What up? What up? Swank. Good deal. Okay, so we appreciate you guys subscribing on all that. Listen, I'm just saying. We in business. We cooking with gas, as they say. Let's give out some game balls tonight, man. I don't know where you guys are gonna go with your game ball. I'm gonna let you go first because I don't know where I'm gonna go with my game ball right now.
Man, you know what? I would give out.
No.
I'm gonna give. I mean, listen. You know, I want to give it to Giannis. You know, I 100% want to give it to Giannis. But you know what? I'm gonna do something that's the right thing to do. Chris King mentioned that I think it was like four of the guys that were cooking us came from the Atlantic 10. You know, which is a decent college basketball conference. And man, one time for the mid majors, man.
There we go.
Show them boys some love, man.
I love it.
One time for the mid majors, showing that all they need is a shot and they can ball, right? So, yeah, I'm gonna get them boys from the Grizzlies from the Atlantic 10 the game balls tonight.
And that's a front office that scouted well and wasn't afraid to go to the Atlantic 10 and grab somebody who can impact the game right away. I'll give it to an Atlantic 10 guy that I really do not want to give it to because I just very much dislike the Virginia Commonwealth University Rams. But I thought Vince Williams Jr. tonight was just great. I thought he provided a ton offensively, defensively, played a great job, or did a great job of just defending and being a role player, but also going out there and creating offense. 7 of 11 from the field, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, and 18 points. He looked really good out there playing this like point forward role, kind of pass first, but to have that stat line, I mean, it's not that hard against a Bucks team that's not good at defending. But I thought obviously he was on a 2-way to start the year, and he's played his way into a contract. That's a lot of credit to him. And then obviously down the line they played well. So.
I'm gonna give it to G.G. Jackson. 27 points tonight. Had a lot of threes, winning 10 of 17, 6 of 10 from 3. So he had an excellent game against the Bucks and just torched them all night, early, often. He did his thing, so I give him a lot of credit. I also give a game ball to Taylor Jenkins, head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, who used to be used to be an assistant coach under Mike Budenholzer with the Bucks. So again, had his team prepared, undermanned and shorthanded, and they went out and got a dub. Josh Carruthers says, can't see your eyes, Trey. So Josh, one of the homies, you try to say I'm Chinese. You try to say
Relax now.
All right, we off the rails. All right.
You had the Stella Rosa. It got you right.
That's what he making. He's trying to make a joke. My eyes a little low. But anyway, Josh is listen, he can't really talk. He likes a bunch of teams. He likes like multiple basketball teams. Man, you can't come in here. You from Cleveland. You like the Cavaliers. Come on, man. You can't. He like LeBron. He like the Lakers. He like a lot of basketball teams. So
remember the joke where when LeBron was at the Heat, they were like, "I'm a where he at fan," and that's the LeBron mojo.
Yeah, exactly. Where he at? That's JC. Anyway, yeah, let's go around the league, and there's something I really want to talk to you guys about. Here, 1 second. Bucks lose obviously 113-110. The Warriors get a win over the Jazz, 140-137. The Timberwolves 128-91 over. Oh, it's only 3 games tonight. So yeah, 3 games tonight. So yeah, so that was it. The Warriors got the double over the Jazz, and the Wolves beat the Trailblazers. See how? Well, again, I won't say that, but the Warriors again they got a win over an inferior opponent. Go out and beat the inferior opponent. The Bucks couldn't do that. Did you guys see that they called the police came and got Isaiah Stewart over this fight he had in the tunnel with Drew Eubanks? I thought that was interesting, and not only I thought it was interesting, but like I just couldn't believe that. What I couldn't believe was the fact that they got in this fight, and the Phoenix Suns tried to allege that Isaiah Stewart like sucker punched him or something like that. He got arrested. I'm just like, how does it come to this? How does that happen? How do you get in a fight before the game? How does all of that? How do you get in a fight before the game? How does that happen? How do you get in trouble for it? Who told on who? Why are there police involved? And my second thing is the Suns are a very soft basketball team. Because you got Nurk getting beat up and nobody says it, nobody does anything, nobody comes to his defense when Draymond knocks out Nurk. And now Drew Eubanks getting knocked out by Isaiah Stewart and they call the police and pressing charges. I don't know, man. Something going on with the Suns basketball team where people, I don't know, they just have punchable faces, but they getting pumped. And like, I want to hear if the Suns beat somebody up. There's somebody from their organization mollywop somebody. All I keep hearing is about all the stuff that's happening to them, and it's not good.
Listen, man, I've never been inspired by the Suns. They do these little workout videos after the game. They be doing these little workout videos. I don't know what that is, but it's still debatable if it's working or not. But here's the way I see it. Trey, you got a job. You punch somebody at work before work, what's going to happen?
Well, yeah. No, I know.
I mean, listen, right? Like, at the end of the day, the law still applies. If he want to press charges because he sucker punched, he socked somebody, it's low-key, like, kind of a flex. Like, I'm going to show that I'm completely unfazed, but you know what? I'm gonna ruin your life for doing this. I'm not even gonna retaliate. I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna watch you ruin your life.
That's whack. It's the NBA. It's the NBA. That's whack.
What you mean it's the NBA?
This isn't This ain't the corporate office.
No,
These guys go out. And have.
We saw what Isaiah Stewart do. We know what he's capable of, though. Hey, look, he was chasing after LeBron like a cheetah after a gazelle. That boy was trying to get after LeBron.
No,
I would say,
yeah.
I would say I don't know what they could have possibly been beefing over. Like, why? First off, those are two guys that are like opposite end of the spectrum in terms of NBA, like just where they're at in their careers. I don't know what could have been said, but I really do want to know. But like, man, what are we doing? What do they have? 8 wins now? The Pistons, something like that. Like, what are they doing even beefing with the Suns at this point in the locker room before a game? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I want to read up on it a little bit more. But as far as pressing charges, yeah, like you said, Trey, I'm damn near on the same page in terms of, yeah, like it's not corporate office. It's not like it's not like he's got a suit and tie on.
You got grown men wanting to throw. You got grown men wanting to throw hands. It doesn't even sound like they were in a fight. They made it seem like if it was sucker punch. He's like, yo, you know what? Listen. I'm going to make you pay because what you're not going to do is mess up my livelihood for me and my family, right? Yeah. So, hey, I'm not going to retaliate. I'm not going to mess my hands up on this. I'm going to just go ahead and let this be the gift that keeps on giving because now you're going to get arrested. Then you're going to have a court date. Then you're probably going to have charge. Then you're probably going to have to plead. Then you're probably going to have to be tied up in probation or whatever else, right? Yeah. Hey, now, personally, is that how I would have gotten down? Probably not, right? You're going to catch these hands. You're going to do this, but I'm not going to knock him for how he handled it.
Somebody need to put Drew Eubanks on like one of those Karen memes where she on the phone. calling 911 because I wouldn't. Hey, you got to get your get back right then and there. You can't just get sucker punched and go run and cry to the 911 at that point.
Right. Yeah, man. That's somebody's talking about Mac for Better Than Mars. They said they have video footage in the tunnel. Beef Stew, Mini Meta are tests on how he handles conversations. Where's TMZ? I want to see the footage.
They'll have
I
it.
want to see what
They'll
happens.
have it.
It needs to come out.
That footage coming out in 24 hours.
It's coming out. Green Ranger says, I like the Pistons mentality. If you can't win on the court, take it to the streets. Yeah, there you go. Then lastly, I did want to mention, did you see the parade out in Kansas City? Prayers up, rest in peace to, I think there's one person who lost their life. I think I haven't seen the news on it lately. I know one person lost his life, and I think there were like 20 some others shot. Listen, man, you can't go nowhere, man. You can't. And I remember my dad used to tell me all the time, as a kid, as a youth or whatever, teenager, hey, man, don't be out this time at night. Don't go, there ain't nothing out here for you. And I used to kind of joke and be like, it don't matter. It really, at this point, it does not matter where you're at, what you're doing, what time you're out. Now, again, I agree. Yeah, there ain't nothing good happening at 2 a.m. But it don't matter. If you're out of the parade, if you're at church, you saw Joel Osteen's church got shot up. That other Sunday. It does not matter whether you're at a grocery store, at the movies, parade. So it just doesn't matter, man. You got to be on the lookout for your surroundings, and sometimes you just nothing you can do about it because people and guns, and we have a gun problem in this country. But people, at this point, nobody seems intent on doing anything. And once people said going to school, once they shoot up school kids and nobody did anything about it, I mean. It's a free for all at this point, and I think for me it's like, at what point do you try something different? At what point do you try something different with? And I know people, well, I have the right to bear arms and I want to do this, and it's like, yeah, I get some of that, but nobody like the founding fathers didn't they did not anticipate what has happened. I know you think they're all good. They didn't know what 2024 was going to be like. Like I'm telling you, bear arms against the U.S. government, you're losing. We could all bear arms right now against the U.S. The government is going to whoop our tail. You're not uprising over the U.S. government. It's not going to happen. It's not happening. So that was what the law was written in. That was what that amendment was intended to talk about. The bill, that's what that was intended to talk about. But it's a wrap, dog. Like you losing. So I just think you have to rethink this entire thing. And again, it's not gonna. Always people telling you what's not gonna work and how it can't work. Why don't we try it and then see kind of what happens from that point? But anyway, like I said, it's just tragic loss of life, senseless gun violence, as always. And again, it just doesn't matter where you're at. I do want to ask this question too. So you can address that, but I also want to ask you: do you think that's the end of parades? So Steve Homer, who was ESPN in Milwaukee, said that this would be the end of parades for Super Bowl or for championship parades in general. And they somebody questioned about it. He was like, yeah, no, not like, yeah, you still got a Macy's Day Parade, but this is like one that's very easy to solve where you could take the risk out of everything. And instead of having this parade and getting all these, because again, there were 800 and some officers and 20 some people still got shot. So it's like, it doesn't matter. You can have all the security in the world. People want to do bad things, they're going to do them. But you could stop all that where you sell tickets to your actual stadium or your venue and you have your championship celebration in there. And that's what the event is versus, having hundreds of thousands of people line the streets. So that was his thought. I guess I want to get your opinion on that. And then, like I said, just in general about what happened in Kansas City. We'll wrap this thing up.
Oh, so my first thing, right, is one of the OGs told me, right, one of my mentors told me, listen, man, after 12, ain't nothing going down but draws, right? Now, some of y'all, some way, shape, or form, right? Hey, listen, man. That's just one of the mentors, one of the OGs told me.
Not wrong,
right?
Not 12,
wrong, right? It's not okay. So that's the first thing, right? The other thing, though, on a much more serious note, what happened in Kansas was absolutely tragic. You think of something so joyous, right? Where think about sports fans, what that means to you, championship parade, being able to do that, being able to experience that once in a lifetime. Kansas City under Patrick Mahomes has been able to do it 3 times, but even so, right? always historic, always something, always an experience that I think every sports fan has probably on their bucket list to see to at least maybe go to the parade, see their favorite team win a championship in whatever the respective sport is. And it's just sad, right? It's really sad that that gun violence has spilled over into every asset of life. Every facet of life, right? Like you said, people at church, people at the supermarket, people at the school, people praying, you name it, right? Gun violence is everywhere. People at a concert. I mean, pick a venue, pick an event, hospitals, you name it. That's kind of where it's at. And I think the most frustrating thing to me is that one side is going to argue it's guns, right? The other side is going to argue it's mental health, right? But nobody's going to. But the solution, a solution that only addresses one facet of that, I don't think benefits anyone. You have to look at it from a bunch of different angles. You 100% do, and I don't know what these politicians are doing, right? I know what's going to happen. There's going to be thoughts and prayers. There's going to be people who are trying to raise money and campaign and fundraise off of this tragedy, both different ways, right? Obviously, you got the gun lobby, you've got interest groups, you got a bunch of different factors into why we can't pass legislation. But the reality of it is, at some point, I certainly hope, if it's sports fans, if it's Gen Z, if it's millennials, somebody's got to hold these politicians accountable, and they've got to say no more excuses, right? Because all these are literally excuses. Because at the end of the day, if we maintain the status quo, this is going to keep happening. And again, as I say to you guys, I don't have the solution for this, right? Fortunately, I'm not an elected official, and I'm not looked to have a solution for this. But what I can tell you is that the current thing that we're doing is not working. If we keep blaming each other on both sides and we don't look at a holistic approach to this, that's not going to work. And each and every single day, we got innocent men, women, and children dying from tragic, senseless acts of violence. And I do believe a lot of this is avoidable.
I think it's avoidable as well. Look, I'll answer your second question, Trey, about if the parades if this is the end of the parades, and I honestly do. I think it's too easy of access to kind of have something like this happen at this point. There's only, like you said, Trey, on Twitter, I think you said over 800 police, and this still happened. And this is something that, honestly, if you get the gun or get whatever in the right person's hands at that moment, and they want to crash out, then it's hard to prevent, even with the amount of police presence that are there. So, yeah, I think definitely it just sucks that this kind of took away from what the Chiefs were supposed to have in this moment. It was supposed to be a celebration of a big victory that they had and bring people together, and instead it just obviously, ended horribly. And so I think the repetition of this is also bad. It just sucks. And a lot of this stuff just keeps happening. I don't know the solution. I'm a young kid. I haven't really looked into it, to be honest. That's where I get vulnerable. I could tell you guys, like, I don't know what I can do as a 21-year-old. But I think something has to happen. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Well said on all fronts there, fellas. I'll read a couple more comments and then we'll get up out of here. Well, I'll read a couple. So Mac for Better Tomorrow says, I just don't get why getting a driver's license takes so much, but not a gun.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. 100%.
And then PV says the solution is to be responsible for your own actions. That's
part of it. That's part of it.
It's like I said, everybody's going to end up on all sides of this thing, but again, something. What we can't do always is after these events say, thoughts and prayers, because again, that's what they say. JT, faith without works is dead.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Don't give me preaching up in here now.
100%. By the way, though, side note, and I, this is a terrible time for me to say this.
Go ahead.
But somebody sent me the TD Jakes video.
Have you ever been swallowed up?
What? I kept watching, just trying to figure out in what way the context is this in what context does this work? And I've come to the conclusion that it doesn't. That man was just wilding. I don't know what TD was talking about. TD was just.
I ain't get down either.
A little purple outfit and walking around like that. Oh, TD, wow.
Okay. So that's interesting. I can't believe you. That was an interesting segue from that to get to that. But I read a couple more comments here. At C Keller 141 says Griffin had growing pains, but at least they beat the bad teams. At JLove46 says Doc killed the offense. At JoJo Swish says forget a first round exit. This team couldn't win a play-in game right now. At Joe Mama _1 says as a Cavs fan, Bucks look old. At Gab Zoronis says Bucks can't match up against younger teams. And we'll do one more. At Bam, this must be a Heat fan. At Bam DPOY says karma for keeping Dame out of Miami and his shit. Why do I read these? This is happening. Okay. Karma for keeping I need to vet these. Karma for keeping Dame out of Miami and his hoes during his divorce. Y'all better pray y'all don't see the Heat during the playoffs. My boy gonna take that value. Y'all can enjoy Hero next year. Hey man, y'all are hilarious.
That's good stuff. I like it. That's good. I lived in Florida for a year and a half. I know what it's like. So I think he might have been happier down there.
Y'all are funny, man. Y'all are funny. Okay. I ain't got nothing else, man. So again, we appreciate all you guys, all of you for watching and rocking out with us tonight. A fun night. Well, what the outcome wasn't fun. Of course, the Bucks lose 113-110 to the Memphis Grizzlies. But you guys stay strong. You're in the chat all night. We do this all the time after every Milwaukee Bucks game. So again, appreciate people who watched us for the first time tonight. If that was the first time watching us, this is what we do. We have a lot of fun talking to Bucks. I know some people in the chat said they were Boston Celtics fans, but they were going to subscribe as well. So again, we appreciate all the subscriptions, all the love, all the likes, all the follows. Like we always say, tell a friend to tell a friend about the Cream City crossover. And again, even if you want to come in here and troll us after we lose to your team, and I know y'all gonna be in during the playoffs. I understand, because you can come on in. You're always welcome. Come on in the room. We'll always have a spot for you here at the Cream City crossover. Any final words? 113-110, the Bucks lose to the Grizzlies.
Hey man, enjoy this break, guys. We'll be back on it next Thursday.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah. I don't know if we have an Argentines accused Saturday. I'll check. But again, you can always catch us on 97 through the game and for Argentines accused, as well as 1070 in Madison for Bucks in 60. Should be back on that Monday. You know, it's crazy. We're supposed to have a show tonight, and I didn't know about it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I got
commitment is going to the Cream City crossover at this point.
Well, they texted me at 3:00. Like, hey, we got a show tonight. I was like, do we? Who is we? Yes, I think I messed up. I didn't look at the schedule, but yeah. So again, Bucks lose it 113-110. We'll probably have a couple videos, at least somewhat during it, because the Bucks are involved in the All-Star game and some of the All-Star challenges. So maybe we'll do a video, probably not a live stream, but a video for All-Star Saturday night. We'll keep this content coming for you. And you know what kind of content? Who knows what kind of content could be made at the Cream City crossover? That's what they. No, okay, all right. I was just saying. Anyway, okay. So this has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Guru Trey Crosby III.
Chris King.
Hey man, enjoy your All-Star break. Don't take no wooden nickels.